heard a lot about the good old days of missions after World War II, when missionaries were frugal and just trusted God for some of their daily needs. Some BMW missionaries can remember receiving used tea bags in the mail for them to reuse after they had been used by donors in the U.S. After speaking to numerous mission agencies, standards on retirement have been changing because the face of missions has changed. Many mission organizations started in the 1950s and 60s were youth-oriented, had the philosophy, the Lord's coming back soon. We're going to finish this job and Jesus will come back, so why prepare for the future? The problem came when those missionaries got older and the Lord hadn't returned yet. It was already too late for them. Most retirement plans for mission agencies didn't start until the late 80s or 90s, and missionaries around the world were going to retire with no income. These missionaries soon learned that churches didn't want to support them because churches like to support active missionaries, but not necessarily retired missionaries. Upon retirement, many missionaries were left with only Social Security income and a few dedicated individual donors. This seems to put everyone in an awkward position, especially the missionary, who doesn't want to be a burden on others. The historical reality is that many missionaries have experienced lack in their final years of life. God has not always dropped a last-minute home or a major gift in the lap of the faithful. And though some may think that being missionaries and all, these good folks are okay with making do on less, or with being dependent on reluctant family members, we can see the neglect. So as we consider the effectiveness and efficiency of our ministry dollars and scrutinize the benefits package of a missionary support schedule, budget, let's consider a couple of questions. How much do we value these gospel workers? How do we see their long-term stability? How do we love them? They have sacrificed already and given up personal comforts to give the gospel. We send them out. Yes, God can provide for a missionary or us in unusual ways, a generous relative, an unexpected major gift. However, the Bible indicates that our work and our planning is the normal way God provides. The book of Proverbs is particularly full of principles about preparing for the future financial needs, like retirement. The proverb of the diligent ant in Proverbs 6, verses 6 through 8, teaches us to set aside resources during the harvest season so we can have something to live off in the winter months when work is no longer possible. Setting aside resources requires frugality, discipline, and restraint. So we need to remind ourselves that missionaries' need from us is not to question their needs for retirement benefits. They're only too tempted to take that short-term perspective and drop it from the budget. Rather, what missionaries need is for us is encouragement to do what is both in their and our best interest. Start saving now. Invest, invest, invest. Time to invest in retirement is today. Why is it in our best interest as donors that missionaries start saving for retirement now? Because missionaries who wait until later will have to use much more donor money to achieve the same effect, because they'll have missed the returns produced in the market over time. There's exponential benefit to investing early. Yes, supporting a missionary is more costly than sending food, clothing, furniture, or literature. Supporting a missionary's retirement goes against our mentality, bang for your buck satisfaction. But it's a real needful investment nonetheless. Perhaps the greatest investment we can make. Secondly, church mission leaders often are tempted to not give to people in support ministries. Somehow, we don't feel like that's a part of an effective missions program or not frontline ministry. Our dollars are so tight for frontline missions, the administration of missions gets mingled out of missionary support dollars, as it doesn't seem to fit the Great Commission. Examples in this category include mission agency expenses, general fund expenses, mission and partnership expenses, conference travel expenses, expenses to visit missionaries on the field, vision trips, training materials, and office expenses. These are helpful and needful expenses to reach needy people worldwide. When one supports a support staff person, it's like indirectly supporting all the missionaries the support person serves. What a blessing to be frontline missionaries. A possible church plan would be to develop policies which govern how they will treat missionaries, retirement, and support ministries. Churches must regularly communicate these retirement policies to their missionaries. A possible example of a church retirement policy is when a missionary turns 70, their support will be dropped to 75%. By 75 to 50%. By 80, 20%. And over 85, 10%. And then maybe zero after they get to be over 90. Missionaries need to save for retirement now. I feel that they should be saving 10 to 15% of their support. BMW provides a 403B plan for missionaries to invest in mutual funds. We set a mandatory of $50 for a single and $100 for a family, but I firmly believe it should be raised to 10 to 15% of their paycheck. Missionaries aren't more special than everybody else. Missionaries get the same problems others face in retirement. God doesn't give us a free pass for being in ministry. We need to plan for a legacy to the next generation, and it isn't only spiritual, but financial too. Start now with a monthly amount and increase it as the Lord allows you. Each church must wrestle with how much of their missions budget will go to support ministries. I would suggest whatever that amount is to double it. By doing so, you indirectly give your missionaries a raise in the services and assistance. Let me know how I can help.